Hello again, Tom, the well-traveled American. 13 January 2026. Tonight we've got a follow-on with what we were talking about yesterday. Iran crippled Starlink and why the rest of the world should worry. It's no secret, folks. Military-grade GPS jammers supplied by who? Of course, the usual suspects, Russia and China. Hopefully Musk and Trump can figure out some way to take care of this, because service became synonymous with censorship and proof connectivity. Iran has just proved that assumption wrong. You see, when a regime wants to shut down free speech in its country, it restricts the internet. It shuts down the servers in the country and locks people out. Well, thanks to Starlink, people can just bypass the local internet and go right to outer space, essentially, and get themselves out on the World Wide Web. Well, we can't be having that. When you're out there trying to kill a bunch of people, murder them in cold blood, peaceful protesters out there in the street demanding some change in their political system, well, the answer is, if you're a totalitarian state, always the same thing. Kill them. Just kill them and be done. And, if you kill enough of them, the rest of them will knuckle under. They'll become your slaves. Iran's digital blackout has now deployed military jammers supplied by Russia and China to shut down access to Starlink internet. It's a game changer for the Plan B connectivity frequently used by protesters and anti-regime activists when ordinary access to the internet has stopped. China has simulated using drone swarms to jam Starlink over Taiwan's seized areas and invested heavily in this type of system. Iran is systematically crippling Starlink, the satellite internet service said to be the most impossible to jam. Military-grade GPS jammers deployed since 8 January have cut satellite internet performance by as much as 80% in most parts of the country. The level of violence by the government is unlike anything that anyone's ever witnessed. The Islamic Republic is killing in order to assure its survival. U.S.-based human rights activist news agency reports that at least 572 people have been killed and more than 10,600 have been detained or locked up. Hey, let me tell you, having spent over 10 years in that part of the world myself, once you go into the dark hole over there, there's a good chance that you're not going to come back out. This is serious gulag stuff where you're probably not coming back out. Not any meaningful way. They'll probably kill half of them at least, and the rest they'll hold up, in abysmal conditions for tens, if not 20 plus years. By the time people get out, they'll be broken. So that's the way the game's played. I have to ask this question. Does anyone still think we can do a deal with these types of totalitarian regimes? China, Iran, Russia. The trifecta of totalitarian dictatorships. Well, we could probably throw in old fat boy Kim from North Korea, but he seems to be sitting more on the sideline, supplying Russia quietly with weapons and some personnel from time to time. Hadn't worked out too well for their personnel. Most of them got slaughtered on the front line. So, yeah. I really don't know where else to go with this, other than it's quite devastating to the people there on the ground. Hopefully Mr. Musk can figure out a workaround on this. It's, once again, I'm going to call for it, it's high time for the United States to take out some of these assets that the regime is using in order to kill people. Mr. Trump has told everyone that he's going to take tough action. I will give him this today. He did two things of note. Uh, there were supposedly some conversations, some deal possibilities being made with Iran. That's come to a grinding halt. Trump has flat out come out and say, I'm not having any meetings with these people. Well, gee, should have never went there to begin with. Because we really do know who these people are and how they act. We don't really have to test this out. The testing of this is costing thousands of lives each day. So if you're truly concerned about human life, you've got to put an end to this, and that means taking action. So there we are with that. To back that up, of course, the electronic jamming's not 100%. So what they're doing is the regime there in Iran is hunting down Starlink users to kill them and the revolt with them. The dictator mullahs will stop at nothing. They're hunting these people down like it's a, African safari. And they don't play. They just kill them right there on the spot usually to make a demonstration to others that they're not going to put up with it. It amazes me that I hear things saying, well, we were looking at military options. We're formulating some plans. I got to tell you, I'm a little disappointed. And as a former Marine, I'm usually not disappointed in our military and its professionalism. But I'll tell you, the leadership up there at the top end, maybe coming out of the CIA and the Pentagon and NSA, you can't tell me that you didn't have a contingency plan ready for this. Once upon a time I worked for Boeing, and we had a contract that was multi-year contract, billions of dollars, defense agency spending, and we couldn't produce the product. It was late. It wasn't happening. Weren't getting a job done. Aircraft, in this particular case, was helicopters, were not coming off the assembly line when we had promised the government that they would. So there was a lot of heat generated on the contract. And the president of Boeing came down to the helicopter company, and I'll never forget. We had about 30 of us walking along, trailing along like little puppy dogs while he was talking to the true head-ups, to include the vice president of manufacturing there at the facility. And I'll never forget these words. It was one of the rare times you saw a public dressing down of a vice president level executive in public. And he said, and I quote, "Hey, you get yourself, wife, your something for Christmas there? You're going to be Christmas coming." We were a few months ahead. And he said, "Are you going to wait until the last day to go shopping, Christmas Eve?" He said, "You knew Christmas was coming. You plan ahead." We knew this. Anybody with any understanding of international relations and the world affairs and today realized that this was going to unfold over there in Iran. The stage was set. You cannot tell me that we haven't got a plan at hand, that we have to figure it out at this late date while people's lives are being snuffed out. If that's really true, then I think we seriously need to go in there and evaluate who the people are that we're paying $100,000 plus paychecks every year to be the big thinkers in this organization. So I'm a little disappointed, to say the least. This is an opportunity to clear up 47 years worth of problem over in the Middle East. And if we do it properly, this will all turn out okay. But we can't sit here and dither and do nothing of substance while the clock is ticking. A bad plan implemented now is better than a great plan that gets implemented too late in the game. I forget, that was a poor paraphrase, but that was some famous general that quoted that. And I truly believe that to be true. In this case, extraordinarily true. Okay, so that's going to do it for me on 13 January. I just thought I'd follow up on this a little bit with some of this evidence that's come in that now we know who's shutting down the internet and the Starlink terminals over there in Iran. It's our good friends, China and Russia. And yeah, we still don't think that, we still think we're going to make a deal with these people. No, it's not going to happen. It's not in the cards, as people would say. Okay, that's it for me tonight. Please do me the favor to like and subscribe. Hate saying that stuff. It's tiresome, but I gotta say it because not enough people are doing it. Okay, and I am